Welcome to the kingdom, guys. I'm your host, Coach Matthew, the host of the Royal Vision podcast. It is our inaugural episode, so I'm excited to introduce our very first guest. He's a 6'7" forward playing for Spring Mills High School here in Martinsburg, West Virginia. He is a two-time EPAC Player of the Year, a first-team West Virginia All-State. He's a West Virginia State Player of the Year runner-up. He's got offers from multiple schools, including Shepherd, Fairmont, and Cal PA. So without further ado, let me introduce you guys, Caleb C.T. Thomas. Well, Caleb, I'm really glad you're here. Glad to have you a part of this. Really excited. So tell me a little bit about you. What you're a basketball player. What drew you to be playing basketball?
Right. So when I was younger, I was never really into basketball or anything like that. I used to watch a lot of WWE and stuff. So I actually used to want to be like a wrestler. Like that was like my passion. I watched it all the time.
Really?
Yeah. And then one year I just decided to play rec ball here at the Martinsburg Rec Center.
Yeah.
And I liked it. So I just went from there, kept getting better. And that's how I got my passion for basketball.
I got you. Did you ever imagine yourself growing to be 6'7", 6'8"?
I didn't, to be honest. I imagine like 6 foot or something like that, because that's like how tall my dad is. But I never imagined like 6'7" or anything like that.
So you got the lucky genes.
I
You got the
did.
good genes.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
did.
So early in your career, what were some of the defining moments? When were you like, oh, I could probably be pretty good at this?
Just like in rec center, when I would have good games, I trained a lot with this trainer I had, Marcellus Basie. He's Martinsburg assistant's head coach.
Yeah.
I trained with him like every day. So, just gaining confidence while working out, I knew I was getting better. So that's how I knew I was gonna be like pretty good one.
That's good. And so growing up, who did you kind of like admire the most? What basketball player?
I would say probably Kobe. He was like the first basketball player I knew out of like everyone. So I started watching his highlights. I was like a Lakers fan at first, but then I moved to like a Wizards fan because we're around DC, so
Yeah.
I've always been like a Redskins fan, a Wizards fan. So I started watching like John Wall and stuff like that. And
I gotcha.
he became my favorite player.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So like, how did your upbringing and environment? So, what was it like growing up? Was it kind of tough? Did you have the support you needed? Like, how was that?
Oh yeah, I've always had the support I needed with my mom, my two sisters, my whole family, my friends, everyone supporting me. I had a good upbringing. I can't complain. It could always be worse. So
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
just grateful.
That's true. I mean, from just, the outside looking in, like you're a good kid. You got a straight, good head on your shoulders. Like, you know where you're going, all that good stuff. I think you have an idea of what you want to do long term.
Mhm.
So like, what are you looking to do long term? You looking to play obviously college basketball because you
Right.
got some offers,
Right. Yeah.
maybe even in the NBAs, overseas, something like that. So what do you want to do?
Yeah. So I want to go to college. Play basketball. Probably get my degree in like business or something like that.
Yeah.
And then after, I do want to play pro basketball, whether it's overseas, the league, or wherever. But if that doesn't work out, I'll probably get into like coaching or something like that, because that's something I always wanted to also do.
Okay. So like long term, you could see yourself being a part of the game, 40, 50 years plus at least.
Oh yeah.
I get that. So are there any like lessons from playing sports growing up that you learned over the years? What are like some of the greatest lessons you've probably learned just from playing basketball?
Just like always stay calm and stay level headed, because if you get angry and stuff in game, like that, it really affects your game. And to just never get comfortable, because you get comfortable, you'll get a wake up call soon.
Yeah.
Whoever you play better than you, so you can't be comfortable.
Yeah, so, not being complacent, always striving for more,
Right, yeah.
looking for that next thing. That's
Uh-huh.
good. So, being an athlete, you gotta have a strong mental game. Like we were talking about, you can't be complacent. So, like, what's your goal? What's your mind like either during a game or, leading up to a game? What's it like?
I always It's just preparation. Before the games, I listen to music and stuff, get warmed up with my teammates. I always try to stay calm. I don't want to get too hype or like just out of like, yeah, just too hyper, because during the game, I don't get hyper or anything. I just stay level headed. So that's how I just want to be the whole time. Just nice and calm.
I got you. So your strategy, what's your strategy kind of role? So like walk me through your pregame routine.
Okay, yeah. So pregame routine. Before the game, I watched the JV game, but I listen to music while I'm watching the JV game.
Mhm.
Go to the locker room with the guys, get stretched, get warmed up. We listen to music on the speakers and stuff. Get stretched, and then after that, the coach gives us a talk. Then we go onto the court. So that's really
That's good.
pretty.
And so, like, I've only been there for a couple of the, like, pregame talks, but, like, what's your favorite part about those pregame talks with coach? Because I know you guys get pretty hyped
Yeah, right.
normally.
Yeah, every day is something different. He usually comes with, like, a different quote of the day for us and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So just hearing a new quote every day, learning something every day is great.
Yeah. And so, like, how do you end up being a part of Spring Mills basketball? You guys haven't obviously starting off in your freshman, sophomore years is
Right,
a little rocky, but lately you guys haven't really faced a lot of losses, a lot of setbacks.
right.
More than most of the setbacks have been, external stuff, nothing to even do with the
Exactly.
team.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome those setbacks? What do you guys do to you know, keep a straight head and not let those outside things affect you guys?
Well, we just keep doing our thing, we keep working hard. I feel like if you keep working hard, good things will come to you. So, yeah, we just keep working and try to overcome all the adversity that hits us.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I always learned being a basketball player is people are always going to say stuff. People are always going to try to knock you down, tell you you can't do this, tell you you can't do that. But if you know where you're going, you know what you need to do for your team to be successful, and you don't try to go down another path,
Right,
you're
yeah,
going to end up okay. It'll
right.
be good. So, like, in your opinion, what are some of the best mental habits that set the great athletes apart from the okay, the not so good athletes?
Oh, like, what do you mean by, like, mental habits?
So, like, as far as, like, believing that you can do something, believing that you're
Oh,
good
yeah.
enough, not giving up because you're not seeing results right away, not
Right,
giving up because it gets hard or because somebody says something.
right, yeah. So I think mindset really just comes from the work you put in. If you work hard every single day, I think you'll grow to have that confidence even when you mess up to just keep going because I think the work is gonna show, obviously, but if you're not putting in the work, it might affect you a little bit.
Yeah, and it's really all about confidence.
Right,
Just,
yeah.
persistence too, just persisting. Because I could pick up a basketball one day, dribble a couple times, fumble it, whatever, and then completely give up. Or I could just be like, "Hey, it's whatever. It's my first time. Keep going, keep
Right,
going, keep
yeah.
going." So it's really about persistence, and like the more you persist, the more confidence you build, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So, what are some common mental challenges that athletes face throughout their careers? So, you've been playing basketball since you what 5, 6 years old
Yeah, like
almost.
5, yeah, 5,
Okay,
6.
so like over that time span, what are some mental challenges you feel like athletes would face over that time?
Yeah. So, yeah, whether it's just, like, home problems or, on the court, like, you're messing up on the court at home, you got something going on with your parents or something like that. Um, those are a lot of challenges that, you can face that I've faced too. But,
Mhm.
you can always overcome those.
Yeah, that's true. Um, because I mean, I'll tell you personally, like when my parents were getting divorced, I was one
Right,
of those
yeah.
people where I kind of like I pushed it away. Uh, trying not to just deal with it. I just
Uh-huh.
staying straight playing basketball.
Right.
And it's so I know that some kids their parents get divorced at even younger age.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
it affects them. And I think that's one thing that people don't notice about athletes. They come out there and they're screaming, yelling at you, which you expect because that's what
Yeah,
you signed up for.
exactly.
But they're looking at you from like an athlete perspective. They're not looking at you from, oh hey, I'm a human being
Right, yeah.
perspective, which
Exactly.
sometimes can get to you a little bit. But I can see that you pretty much you overcome that. You've got a
Yeah.
strong the mental game,
Right,
pretty
yeah.
good. So like with thoughts, because sometimes every athlete has that thought of like, should I keep doing this? Do I love this game? Am I good enough to do this? So like, how do you think an athlete would go about reframing that mindset? The I don't know if I can do this. Those am I good enough? Do I want to keep doing this? How do you?
Right. Well, I feel like you just gotta remember why you started in the first place.
Yeah. What's the reason that you get out there on the court and you go do your thing? Like
Right.
what's your driving force?
I just love the atmosphere, like
Yeah,
the crowds we bring, I love it. My fault. Oh,
you're fine.
can you
Like
say
why
that
do like
again?
what makes you love basketball?
Oh yeah, and just like the mental part, like you have something going on, you can always just go on the court, shoot, and I think it will take your mind off of whatever you got going on. It's like therapy almost.
It's like your zen place. So
Right.
like if, growth trouble going on, home life going on, school,
Right.
whatever it is, I've got my headphones in, step onto the court, and I shoot my free throws, I shoot my shots, I go dunk it really hard, something
Exactly.
like that. It's just
Yeah.
it's peace, it's therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's got their thing. Yours is basketball, or athletes is, going to the football field, whatever it is.
Right.
I get that 100%. So, how do external pressures, expectations from coach, fans, or the media, how do you feel like they affect an athlete's mental game? Because, we were talking about having like a strong mindset. Most athletes do, but sometimes that external pressure that
Right.
creeps in. So, like, how do you feel like athletes manage that?
I've heard it a lot, and I think it's true. I think pressure is just a privilege. A lot of people
Yeah.
they don't get to be in your position and go on the court or the field every day and perform in front of all these people. So I feel like you should just feel blessed and grateful that you're even put in that position, and that you should always look at pressure as a privilege.
Yeah, I get that. One thing that I recently overcame was dealing with haters. Because
Yeah,
being on social media, people are gonna say stuff. Uh and you want everybody to like you. Reality is they can't not everybody's gonna like you.
exactly.
But I started recently I developed the mantra, like, I love my haters.
Uh,
Love the haters because if I the way that I see it is if I give up or if you gave up, then we're just letting them
yeah,
win.
you let them
But
win.
you
Exactly.
love the haters and you'd be like, hey, come on, keep on bringing in more, more,
Hmm.
more, more, and it's
Yeah,
just at that point it just kind of it becomes obsolete because
exactly.
I mean, especially when you put your why in front. So
Yeah.
like, what's your why for basketball? What's the reason? Like, why do you want to go to the league? Why do you show up every day? What's your driving force?
Just wanting to be successful in life one day.
Hmm.
If you're not putting in the work every day, if you're not getting up, if you miss a day, that's extra reps taken off, whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah, just wanting to be successful in life is what keeps me pushing every day because I know I'm not gonna be successful if I just lay in bed all day and do
yeah.
absolutely nothing. So that's why I get up every day and just keep going.
One thing I noticed from talking about you or talking with you is you mentioned Kobe earlier. I can see that Mamba mentality.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I don't know what your routine is, but we'll get into that. But I could definitely see you getting up at 3 a.m., 3 to 5,
yeah,
rest, 7 to 9, go back
exactly.
on the
Yeah, yeah,
court, rest, and then more. So
yeah.
but speaking of that, so like how much time do you spend on basketball in a day? You guys practice normally right after school. Um, do you do any extra stuff in the morning before school, during the day, later on after practice?
During season, I usually just I try to. Yeah, so I get up, go to school. We have practice after school, and then I stay after practice a little bit sometimes. But
Yeah.
so during season, I don't really do much extra stuff. But during off season, that's why I put in the more work.
Yeah.
So we'll usually have like 6 a.m. workouts, go to school, have practice right after school, lift or something like that.
Yeah.
In summer, I always try to find time to work out, like at morning, afternoon,
Yeah.
night, even. So
And then I know you said you growing up, you had Marsalis Basie.
right,
He
yeah,
was your trainer. So do you have a trainer now? Like, I think it's Money Marr in
yeah, yeah,
Jefferson
yeah.
County. Like, do you use him or do you have like a specific trainer?
I don't usually if I want to like call like Coach Shambles or Coach Summers, something like that, to get in the gym, they'll let me in. They'll give me a workout themselves. So
Yeah,
that's usually who I call now. I don't really got a like a personal trainer or anything like that.
I got you. So how does an athlete's belief system, how does that affect or shape their ability to perform at their highest level? And if you don't understand that question, just let me know.
All right, yeah. So the beliefs, yeah. So if you don't believe in yourself, then you probably won't perform to the highest level because you don't believe you can make that shot or like you make that pass or something like that. But if you just believe in yourself, have the confidence, I feel like you always find a way to get something done, whether it's on the court, off the court.
Yeah.
I think it's just all confidence.
And there's a lot of athletes that they don't play the sport anymore because of belief systems. So, like, what would you say to the athletes that gave up, the ones that stopped trying because of a belief system? Like, what advice would you give to those athletes?
That already gave up. You
They
said,
that would gave up or, are thinking about giving up? Because I'm sure you talk to people all the time. They're like, "Hey, I wish I could be as good as you. I wish
right?
that
Yeah.
I could. I wish I still played ball or whatever it is."
Mm. Well, yeah, I would just hope they get up and try it again, or they find a new passion. Just try that, believe in yourself to fullest ability, and just try to keep going. I guess. Yeah.
So really, just
Honest.
about finding a way to just overcome adversity,
Right.
realizing that yeah, it might be hard now, but it's not going to get easier, but you are going to get better.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
finding ways to keep persisting because I can't tell you the amount of times that like I've given up on things when if I just kept going, I mean, I'd be so much further in something.
Exactly.
Like, is there ever been anything that you feel like as an athlete you've given up on, or felt like an athlete might give up on just playing?
I wouldn't say I've given up on anything, whenever I failed during like a drill or something like
Yeah,
that. The only way you're gonna get better is if you keep practicing it, and
yeah,
it'll come eventually. So that's how I look at it. But yeah, I don't.
I gotcha. So being a student athlete,
Mm,
being in high school, it's manageable. College, it becomes, like a full-time job almost.
right. Yeah.
So how do you balance that? How do you find the time to balance school and basketball, and then like also family time, personal time, whatever it is?
Yeah. Honestly, it's not that hard to be honest. You go to school for about 7 hours. You should get all your work done in those hours, so when
Hmm.
you get home, you don't have to do any homework. But if you do have homework, obviously you go to practice. Right after practice, that's when I try to get my homework out the way, so
Okay.
I could just chill for the rest of the evening. I don't think it's that hard managing it, but I know a lot of people do, but I don't think it's too hard.
Yeah, I get that. I remember being in school that was like the one thing that was easiest for me is balancing the school and versus the sports life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Yeah,
like just like you, I'm in school 7 hours. That's 7 hours where I can get all my work done.
exactly. Yeah,
And normally, I mean, you're probably like this too. You're done by lunchtime, and then
yeah,
I
exactly.
go home and I can do whatever it is I need.
Mhm.
So like, what's your favorite thing to do in your own personal time after you've done your school stuff when you don't have basketball? What do you like doing?
I really just like chilling. Maybe sometimes play video games. I usually just go on my phone, watch YouTube or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I'm not doing anything, I usually just to like just chill or yeah, just catch up on sleep because I don't get much
Yeah.
I don't get much sleep during the week. So I catch up on sleep,
Maybe like 4 or 5 hours at the
yeah, like
most.
4 or 5 hours.
I
So
got you.
I
I
can
got you.
yeah, I
So
can
like on the game, what's your favorite game to play?
and right now it's NCAA
Is it okay?
football, yeah.
25
25,
Madden.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's
I used to play 2K a lot, but I feel like it's just gotten worse over the years, so I
uh,
don't play it
we
much.
gotta be careful with that.
Yeah.
Don't want 2K to get upset with us.
Yeah, yeah, true.
No, but, that's good, that's good. It's funny, I had sold my consoles a while ago 'cause I just didn't find myself playing them.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
so what's Madden 25 like? I've seen a lot of people play it. I'm a UNC fan for those of you guys out there, but,
I mean, it's smooth. NCAA, I think it's smoother than Madden. It's still like the same concepts and everything. It's probably like any other game you played, but to me, it's just smoother and
mhm.
it's more fun.
Yeah, yeah. And, so personal life, you said you have 2 sisters, your mom,
All right.
um, is your dad at the house too, or?
Nah, he's not right now, but
Okay.
I see him every once in a while.
Alright, that's good, but so, like, what's it like balancing your family life too? So, how much time do you get to spend with your family? I know during basketball season, it's a little
Yeah,
bit harder because
it is
you're
harder. Yeah.
gone 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah. Well, on weekends I try to spend as much time with my family as I can because I don't really got much going on. But
Yeah.
during the week, obviously, it's hard. I barely see my sisters really during the week because
Mm.
they got work too.
Okay.
They got stuff going on. So I really just see my mom the most during the week.
Okay.
I still spend time with her a lot.
That's
So
good.
yeah,
How's you guys' relationship? You got a good relationship with your mom? I know most athletes normally do. Yeah,
no, yeah,
their moms, their rock. They do everything for their
right,
mom. So,
yeah, yeah. Mine and my mom's relationship's really good. Yeah, we've always had a great relationship.
what's like your like the favorite thing to do with your mom? Like, I know like sometimes kids will be like, going to sporting events with their mom. Their mom cheers them on at all the games. Do you
Right.
have like a I don't want to say a crazy fan mom, but do you have
Yeah.
one of those moms, or?
She's not like a crazy fan mom or anything, but she
Yeah,
comes to all the games she
yeah,
can. She supports. Like
that's
I
good.
said, I have a great support system.
Yeah,
So yeah, she's not.
and
Yeah,
I know I can always guess that you're probably doing most of it for your mom. Obviously, you're
yeah,
playing
yeah,
for you, but I think like end goal probably would be do whatever you can for your
yeah,
mom, because she's been there for you through everything, and
yeah. Just do it for my mom, my sisters, my whole family. Really, just
yeah.
try to make their lives easier so they can relax in the future because they work so hard their whole life. So
So like for your vision for the whether it's playing overseas, playing professional at that long term,
all right, yeah,
what's your vision for taking care of your family? Like what would you like to do? Like how do where do you see how you take care of your mom, your sisters? Where do you see, taking care of yourself? The life that you've planned on living.
yeah. So obviously, yeah, I want to go pro in basketball, whatever. If I'm making a lot of money, I would send them a whole bunch as much money as I could,
Yeah.
during the weeks or whatever, so they could just stay, wealthy, stay on. They're not ever struggling or anything like
Yeah,
that. So yeah, that's what I'd do if I, got that type of.
that's good. I love that. That's one thing that I've always wanted to do, dreamed of is, retiring my mom,
All right.
making sure that, like, hey, like, you've done everything for me. I got you. Like, don't worry about
Exactly.
it. Like, the
Yeah.
mortgage, I got it. The bills, I got you.
Hmm.
You go live your life. You go have fun.
Yeah.
You've done so
Exactly.
much for me. I got you.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's one of like the biggest thing, like most important things to most sons, most athletes, or just any man is, how can I take care of my mom? I know
Exactly.
sometimes the dads kind of get forgot a little bit, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not personal.
Yeah. It's not.
But that's kind of like that's where I come from because
Hmm.
I've always had a really good relationship with my mom,
Yeah.
and I have a
So same.
relationship with my dad too. But I like my mom; she's been there through everything for me,
Yeah. Right.
and if I could do something to make sure that she's not, do I gotta pay the mortgage or pay the electric bill, the water, the electric bill, then or
Right.
buys groceries, and
Hmm.
I'd do that in a
Yeah.
heartbeat, in a heartbeat.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, like, on your social media platform, how do you feel like you can use that effectively to inspire athletes, inspire young athletes, or just, anybody who's interested in pursuing something to be successful in that?
Yeah. So I actually need to do a better job. Like with my social media, I don't
Mhm.
post a lot or
Uh,
anything, but I just seeing stuff like on like Instagram and stuff, just like a motivational quote, just making videos, like you do, just
yeah,
talking to them. I think that could help one a lot.
yeah.
Just talking to them about all that stuff they got going on in their life.
So, what do you normally when you do post, what do you typically post when you're posting on social media?
I really don't post at all, but
Yeah.
Instagram, I'll post like an Instagram story. I'll repost like if one of my teammates makes a post, some I'll repost their
Yeah,
post,
yeah.
or if like there's like a video of me dunking or something, I'll repost that too. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's really it, to be honest.
So, like, to get a little bit sidetracked, I don't know if you like talking about this. So, most people know it's like the dunk heard around the world. Last year, Caleb, he had a pretty good posterizer
Yeah, yeah,
on a player from Hedgesville.
yeah.
So, kinda explain that moment to you. I know in the moment you're just doing what you know is right, but, like, what's going through your head, well, before before you make the move, before
Right,
you
yeah.
go attack the basket, and then, like, so let's just start off with that.
Yeah, so I if I remember the player, I think I was about to go dribble a handoff with the Quasi,
Yeah.
but I saw my guy was overplaying it, or I think he was about to switch or something like that. So I kept it and I turned the corner, and I knew like I didn't see no one in the paint, so
Yeah.
I knew as soon as I saw that I was just gonna ride to the dunk. But when I got to the rim, like I didn't know, like I didn't even know like no one like anyone was under me. Like I
Yeah.
dunked it, like I knew he was under me, but I didn't know like he fell and stuff like that. Like so, like when I saw it after the game, I was like, oh, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah. Because I was at that game, and I think just like you described it, you're coming off of a dribble handoff with a Quasi,
Mhm.
and the guy in the help side, he's hugging the corner really tight,
Yeah,
and there's
right.
nobody in the lane, and
Exactly.
so you're just able to, go around that screen, drive, and you've got, 15 feet of pickup space,
Exactly,
and you
yeah.
just like nothing else to do, and then the guy from Hedgesville, he just happens to come over and
Yeah,
try to
got
take a
him up.
charge, like, because
Yeah.
that's what they teach him to do, but that's one of those plays where I don't think that it's, like, impossible to call that.
Yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
even if it looks like
A
it
charge.
probably is a charge,
Yeah,
it's
you
that's one
can't
of
call that it's
those.
too, yeah.
So, like, afterwards, I know you got your own page in the Spring Mills High School yearbook, but afterwards, how'd you feel about that? Like, what was going on in your life? What was everybody saying? I feel it 'cause pretty sure they talked about it for at least 2 months.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
even
yeah.
talk about it now.
Yeah,
So, like,
yeah, yeah. Um, it was cool just seeing everyone, repost my stuff and
yeah,
everything. It would go back to school, everyone was talking about it. It was a cool experience for sure.
yeah. And then so, like, being an athlete, a lot of times I feel like we downplay the things that we do, like, no matter how, like, amazing it is. Is that, like, a play that you feel like that you downplay personally, or do you be like, like, "That's pretty cool." Like, do you give yourself that recognition that you deserve for that play? Because that's a dope play. There's not a lot of people who can be like, "Hey, I posterized that person."
Yeah, it was a could play, but I've done it before. Well,
Yeah,
not I don't know if it was that bad, but I've done it before,
yeah.
so, like, I didn't have, like, a huge reaction of it or
It's just like
anything.
a typical 9 to 5.
Yeah, something I'm supposed to do, like
Yeah,
something like that.
I get that. I get that. So, being an athlete, somebody who wants to go pro, obviously, you can be a part of sports forever, but being
Mhm.
able to play the game forever, eventually it becomes a struggle.
Right.
So what challenges come with that transition? So let's say you go to the league, you're in the league for 15, 20 years.
Mhm.
How do you plan on dealing with that transition from, hey, I work, basketball is my job and I work and that's what I do all day long to, well, now, oh, I still got basketball, but I don't play anymore.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure yet,
Yeah.
I'd have to see when I get there, but, it's all about adapting, and just like college, I don't know how that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a cool experience though, but everything's new, so,
Yeah.
once I get well, if I get there, I think it'll just I'll adapt, I feel like, yeah.
I gotcha. And so, like, could you see yourself obviously, you talk about seeing yourself being a coach.
Mhm.
Could you see yourself being a part of the media in any shape, form, or fashion, anything like that?
Um, Probably not. I'm not a huge media guy, but,
Okay.
like I said, with sports, obviously media
Yeah.
comes with that, so obviously I have to deal with it,
Yeah.
but, if I didn't have to deal with it, then, like, yes, I don't think that's anything I'd probably be a part of.
I gotcha. And so from a off the court standpoint, obviously success in sports is, hey, you win that NBA championship, you win that rookie of the year, the
Right.
MVP, all that stuff. But what does success off the court look like to you?
Really just, like staying on top of everything, in life. Like, if you have school, in my opinion, academics come first always. You should always worry about your grades first, then the sports or whatever. That's what, winning in life really looks like to me, just consistent in everything you do and just staying on top of things.
I got you. So like outside of the sport, how do you want to give back? I think it was last week or the week before the Spring Mills basketball team, you guys went and you helped at was a homeless
Homeless
shelter?
people, yeah,
Homeless
homeless people,
shelter. So like with your platform, being a professional basketball player, how do you want to give back to your community that you came from? Because you're from Martinsburg, West Virginia.
right,
As
yeah.
where this is where you grew up your entire life, or even the city that you end up playing in, or the country you end up playing in. How do
Mhm.
you want to give back, from that standpoint?
Yeah, yeah. If I ever made it big, I'd love to, give back to the community, Martinsburg, West Virginia, stuff like that. Just donate money towards schools or whatever. Homeless, like you said,
Yeah.
just anything like that. I would love to just do anything to help the community and, the schools.
I got you. And so, like, what's your favorite part about doing stuff like that? When you're at the homeless shelter, when you're at the soup kitchens, all those places, like, what's the feeling that you get when you're there? How does it make you feel? Like, what's going through your mind when you're there?
It just always makes you feel good, helping out the people that,
Mhm.
are struggling, they go through stuff every day. So just being able to help them is really a great feeling.
Yeah. And so, like, what's something you would what's some advice you would give to those people? Those people that are struggling, going through it, feel stuck, not don't
Right.
feel like there's a way out.
Just really, yeah, just keep going, keep pushing. If you believe in God, keep praying to God every day. And
Yeah.
I feel like, a blessing will happen one day, something will change, try to find a job and just work from there, go from
Yeah.
there.
For sure. For sure. I'd say that's probably my biggest thing too is, hey, like, yeah, it might be rough right now, but your perception is everything. If you feel like, I'll never get out of this,
Hmm.
you might see that.
Right.
But if you're
Yeah.
like, there's got to be a way out, I will find a way out, it
Yeah.
will get better, then you'll probably start to see opportunities where it starts to get better, where you can dig yourself out of that hole or fill in the hole and
Exactly.
climb up the dirt so you can
Yeah.
get out of that hole. So being an athlete, everybody always talks about legacy. So like you have a legacy at Spring Mills High School as one of the greatest, if not the greatest player to come through Spring Mills High School.
Right.
LeBron's one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball
Hmm.
in the NBA or just the game of basketball in general. So what do you want to be remembered for personally?
Just for like everything I did, for the school, and like I hope people could just, look at what I did, at the school, just me staying on top of things,
Yeah.
me having straight A's while still being a good basketball player. Like, I hope they could just look at that and say, like, I can do it too, and just, try to follow that.
So it's really, really about just being like an inspiration, saying like, "Hey, I was able to do this.
So
If I can do
yeah,
it,
you can do it.
you can do it
Right.
too." Yeah, just taking like you just being the example for like, "Hey, literally anything is possible.
Yeah, yeah.
If you just think that you can do it, if you believe in yourself, if you persist, if you don't give up." Because that's the biggest thing is people give up.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
a lot of times people give up way too soon.
Yeah, way
Sometimes
too
people
soon, yeah.
take what they think is failures or what's really temporary defeat, and they see it as failure.
Yeah.
And they get in their heads about it, and they're like, "Well, I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," or like, "I'm stupid," or anything like that.
Right, yeah.
But if you just
Yeah,
keep going.
yeah, literally just keep
Think
going,
about any billionaire, any millionaire. Like, if Steve Jobs or Thomas Edison, when he was creating the light bulb,
uh-huh.
if on that second try he was like, "You know what, I'm done."
Yeah,
Think about, like, we wouldn't have any lights, we wouldn't
exactly,
have
yeah,
any electricity, anything like that.
yeah,
If Elon Musk didn't keep on building his Tesla, perfecting the
exactly,
Tesla,
yeah,
yeah, we wouldn't have so many electric cars. So
mhm,
it really just comes down to, like, a persistence thing, it's not giving up.
exactly.
So like, what advice would you give to the next generation of athletes that are striving for greatness? So, being at those basketball games, you guys have a big crowd,
Mhm.
and I'm sure you have kids coming up to you all the time. You know, hey, like, hey, can I get an autograph? Hey, can I get a picture? So, like, what advice do you give to those young kids, either the upcoming class of juniors, sophomores, freshmen, or just anybody
Right.
coming before them?
Like you said, just keep working, stay disciplined. I think discipline's like the main thing you have to have, even like over motivation. If you're disciplined, I think that'll take you really far. So just staying on top of your schoolwork, your sport, just getting up every day. Yeah, staying disciplined. That's what I would tell them, to stay disciplined.
Yeah, and for, like, those kids out there, you just kinda have to just know what you want. Like, Caleb knows he knows he wants to go pro. He wants to play in the league,
Mhm.
overseas, whatever it is.
Yeah,
It's just knowing what you want and then why you want it. So,
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
his why is his family. He wants to take care of his family. He
Mhm.
wants to provide for them. He wants to make sure that they're, taken care of because 'cause they've been taking care of him his entire life. And he knows that he wants to go to the league. That's what he wants to do long term. No different than me, like, hey, my why is my family. I wanna take care of my family. I wanna take care of the people that I love. What I want is be big long
Exactly.
term.
Yeah.
So define those 2 things, and the how always gets easier.
Mhm.
You never know the route that it's gonna take.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It might take you 5 years to get to the league. You might be able to be a one and done player. Like, you don't know.
Mhm.
You don't know. But just persisting, not
Yeah.
giving up,
Exactly.
not giving up. I know that, a lot of kids out there, their people talk down to them, and so, like, for those kids that, the people talk down to, what advice would you give them?
I would say, just just block them out. Anyone that tries to talk down to you, they're not in your shoes.
Hmm,
Everyone's in a different position. They don't know what you're going through. They might be going through something. They might be trying to talk down on you just to make themselves feel better because they're jealous. So, I would just tell them to block it out because they probably got something going on. I don't know.
yeah, and so, like, how do you typically block that stuff out? Do you just kinda ignore it, or, like, what's your process for blocking stuff out like that?
Yeah, I mean, I really just ignore. I really don't. I don't really care what like if someone's talking down on me or like a hater or something. I really just don't care because they're not in my position. I'm not in their position, so everyone lives a different life. So you
Yeah,
just gotta block it out.
I get that, and so, like, being an athlete, you get screamed at, you get yelled at.
Exactly.
How do you manage that? Because I know I was one of those players where my coach, he'd scream
Oh yeah.
at me like crazy, You'd hear him all the way down to the other side of the school yelling at me. So, like, how do you manage that? How do you react to being screamed at, being yelled at?
I look at it just like it's really just in the heat of the moment. Your coach wants you to do better. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's screaming at you. Yeah, I look at it. He's screaming at you because he wants you to do better. He wants you to fix those mistakes. So you can't take at it. I mean, you can't look at it like he's just screaming at you for no reason. He's trying to get you better. He's trying to just make you fix those mistakes.
I get that. And so, like, which coach that you've been obviously Samples has been in your life for the last
Yeah,
4
like 4
years,
years. Yeah,
but, like, over your entire career, what is it, 13, almost 14 years,
yeah.
who's which people have had the biggest impact on your life, on your career in basketball?
Like coaches or just people.
It could be coaches, it could be people.
Yeah, like like you said, Samples has Marcellus did. I worked with him for like 8+ years, so
Yeah,
he had a huge impact. My family, obviously,
yeah,
friends. I feel like everyone has came in my life, like everyone that I met, has played a part. In what I've done, like and has taught me something. So
yeah. And, like, what's probably the biggest lesson that you've learned from whether it's samples, BC, friends, family, whatever it is, that isn't just got to persist. It isn't just like, hey, you just got to keep on working. What's probably like the one thing that's ingrained in your mind, that the lesson that you've learned from all those people?
Just really just overcoming, like, the challenges. Every day is going to be a new challenge. Every day in a workout, if we were doing like a drill or something and I couldn't get it done, I'd feel like quitting, but you can't. You just have to, yeah, just keep going. Really, keep going is probably the biggest lesson I just learned from everyone. Because not giving up. If you give up, it's never good. Keep going.
Yeah.
Just
Do you feel like there's ever been, and you can make it about yourself if you want, where athletes just feel like giving up?
mhm.
Like, have you ever had moments like that, or do you feel like an athlete's had a moment like that?
Oh yeah, I've had like moments I felt like giving up, man. I'm sure athletes do all the time, but like I said, you always just got to remember why you started doing it in the first
Yeah,
place. All the work you put in, you can't let that just go to waste. So that's how I look at it.
I gotcha. And so, like, what's the one thing, like, what's your routine on a daily basis? So, like, I'm sure everybody out there is probably wondering, like, what's got Caleb CT Thomas,
Yeah.
to where he's at. What's your daily routine outside of school? So let's say you don't have school.
If I don't have school,
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, if I don't have school, obviously I wake up, do all my hygiene stuff or whatever. I'll probably go work out, go to the basketball court or something
Mhm.
like that. Work out, go home. And yeah, if I don't have school, that's really it. Because school and basketball are like the two biggest part of my life. So
Yeah,
if I don't have school, I'm probably playing basketball all day. And if I don't have basketball, yeah, if I have school, I'll be at school.
I gotcha. And so, like, are you one of those people where do you prefer to be on an outdoor court or do you prefer to be inside?
I prefer to be inside.
Okay.
Like I like being outside in like summertime though. Like
Yeah.
not when it's too hot. I don't really like the hot weather like that.
Yeah.
But if it's like 70s, 60s, I like hooping in that weather. But I always prefer inside gym just because AC
Yeah.
and the traction on the court and stuff like that.
Can't go wrong with AC for sure.
Yeah.
Now, like, being so I've seen you progress from being a freshman to a now senior, and I don't know what your freshman starting weight started at, but obviously you've grown a lot and you've gotten a lot bulkier. So, like, what's your weight room regime? Or regimen? Like, how do you go from, I don't want to say scrawny, but
Yeah,
scrawny
I
freshman
was
to, somebody who's pretty built. Like, you strong, like
yeah,
you've
pretty
got a good
defined.
build.
Yeah, that really just comes from our high school workouts, samples. He really had us working in the weight room all summer. So since freshman year, we lift like 4 to 5 times a week in the summer, and during season we lift like once or twice. So it really all just came from that, just getting in the weight room, not missing a day, actually doing the workouts he gives you, doing every rep, every set,
Mhm.
making sure you're not skipping anything.
And so, like, what's your favorite? Obviously, you like basketball, the basketball part of it, but what's your favorite part of the weight room? What makes you like, you know what? I could just keep going back because there's a lot of people where a lot of players where they go into the weight room and they're like, I don't like this. I hate
Yeah.
this.
We're really just yeah, it's not like we're going in like up there by ourselves or anything. So like, we have our teammates as always we always make it fun for each
Yeah.
other, we make it competitive sometimes. Who can lift more or whatever. So that's always fun. Yeah, but really just being with the guys is what makes it, fun up in the weight room.
Yeah. And so, like, speaking of that, like, what's your favorite part of being a part of your team or being a part of a basketball team? Like, kind of explain your favorite part about the culture.
Oh yeah. You get to just like learn something new, I feel like, or just learn something from all your teammates, and it's just about really building friendship, being able to like work together, obviously, yeah, building the bonds just like I think is the best thing because a lot of literally like all my friends have came from like
Mhm.
basketball teams and stuff like that. So just sports is a great thing for like friendships and bonds and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get that. I think so, like, some of my friends that I used to play basketball with, I don't really talk to anymore, but those were my people, especially in high school.
Yeah,
Those were
exactly.
my guys, like, from what is it? September to March.
Mhm.
That's who you're with 4 or 5 hours out of the day,
Exactly.
every day for 6 months. Because I feel like basketball is probably, like, one of the longest seasons.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
a lot longer than baseball, a lot longer than football. It's one of those things where, yeah, you with your school, you're there 6, 7
Mhm.
months, but then think about all the external stuff.
Right, yeah.
So, like, externally outside of, team workouts, where else do you play? You play AAU, right? I think you're on what, West Virginia Gold?
Yeah, I did play for them, yeah.
So, was that your first time playing for them?
Like AAU?
Or no, just in playing for Gold?
Oh, 4 goal. I played with them this past year and the year before that.
Okay.
So sophomore.
So, like, kinda explain that. What's that like? What's playing with them like?
That was definitely a real fun experience. We got to travel places I've never been before, like
Okay.
Houston, Nebraska, Phoenix, just
Yeah.
getting new experiences, seeing what life's like outside of, this area
Yeah.
was really cool. So I enjoyed that experience a lot.
What was your favorite place to go? I know you're talking about you went to Texas, you went to Nebraska, you went to Arizona. Out of those 3 or any of the other places you've been, what was probably your favorite?
My favorite, it probably was it's probably Houston. I liked
Okay.
Houston a lot. I liked the city and stuff like that. It was cool.
What was the
So
best part about being in Houston? That's where Travis Scott is from. I don't know if you're
yeah,
into
yeah, I know
rap
that. Yeah,
music, but,
yeah.
what was your favorite part about Houston?
Just the city, like walking around the city and
Okay.
stuff like that. The restaurants were good. Well, actually, it probably isn't Houston. It's probably Atlanta. I liked Atlanta.
Atlanta?
Yeah,
Okay.
Atlanta
Never
was
mind. We're gonna erase the Houston,
yeah.
Atlanta. So, like, what was so great about Atlanta? What'd you love about Atlanta?
Well, when we got there, we were able to like get in the Atlanta, Atlanta Falcons Stadium, the Mercedes Benz.
Okay.
We got to like look at like
That's cool.
yeah, no one was in there, so we actually got to go in there. Then Georgia Tech College, we got to go in their little
Yeah.
football stadium. Then after that, we just walk around the city and stuff like that. There was like parks and stuff like that we went to, rode like electric scooters around. Yeah, that was a really fun experience.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's fun. I can just imagine you on an electric scooter.
yeah, yeah.
You're like all the way up here.
Yeah,
And
I
plus
know
that
that.
scooters.
Scooters all the way.
That's funny. Did you ever get like afraid of falling, or you just kind of just I can do this. It's
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, I can do it. Yeah.
I gotcha. And so last question is this. So throughout sports, you know, what's one thing that you'll always remember? What's a memory that you'll never forget being a part of sports, being a part of basketball?
Like just a certain like moment that I
It
won't
could be a
forget.
moment, it could be multiple moments, it could be a feeling, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, feeling definitely the state championship last year when we lost. That's a feeling I'll never forget. That's a
Mhm.
feeling, I don't think any of us would want to have again. Moments, just being able to make the states last year though for the first time, like,
Yeah.
was a huge moment for us. That's the first time spring West basketball has ever done that.
Yeah.
So that was huge for us, and yeah, really just the whole high school experience has just been great, with the team and stuff like that. But those are probably the most memorable, I would
That's
say.
that's good. I love that. That's one thing that I'll never forget. So, like, my team, I graduated in 2020.
Mhm.
COVID hit,
Yeah.
and that was the first time we made it to the state tournament since
Alright.
they won back in 2012.
Yeah.
And so, it's one of those feelings, at least making it,
Alright.
is like, I can still remember that feeling.
Uh-huh.
You just kinda like your body's, like, excited with, like, all this emotion, and you just,
Exactly.
you feel like you're on cloud 9, so I get that.
Mhm.
But, like, so after the state tournament, obviously, you guys lost in a
Right.
heartbreaker because you lost by a buzzer beater.
Yeah, literally.
And it's rare that that happens, but I know
Yeah,
that can be
that's
kinda
rare.
painful. So, like, what kinda went through your mind when that happened?
When that happened, I was angry, to be honest. I thought I was just thinking about like all the work we had put in the season. Like,
Yeah.
like before that, that's what we worked for the whole season. And then for it to end like that,
Yeah.
it hit me. But like I got over it in like a week, and we got back to work.
I
And
got you.
hopefully we're in the same position this year.
And
And
so with that, I can only imagine that probably motivated you even more. It's like, "Hey,
oh yeah.
we lost in this really crappy kinda ending,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna dig even harder so we could beat them by 20 this time instead of losing by 3."
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know you guys, because it was Morgantown High School, in West Virginia, you
Mhm.
guys ended up playing them earlier this season,
Right.
you beat them by 20,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I know you guys went down to the Greenbrier and,
Yeah, we lost
had
to
an
them.
off game, and it
Right.
was
Yeah.
but I feel like you're pretty motivated because I think everybody knows around here, like, can see that you guys going back to the state championship game,
Oh yeah.
and more than likely, your opponent's gonna be Morgantown.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about that, that being a possible outcome?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, if everything goes how it's supposed to, I think it will be us too again in the state championship. I think this time we had to be more. I mean, I think we were prepared last year. Like I think our defense was great and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
for like the crunch time moments, I think we gotta, be, we couldn't like get the ball in on the inbounds. Like they kept getting steals. Like we,
Mhm.
we gotta just be. It's the little things like that like we couldn't hit free throws. It's just little things like that lost us that game. And I think we just gotta be ready for that this year, which I think we will be because that was our first time there, but yeah, I think after that experience, like, we'll be ready
Yeah.
for sure.
And talking to Samples, the way he explained it to me was when you guys got there, you guys almost weren't phased. Like you're like,
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
a business trip.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
we do this all the time. We play in all these, big stadiums. Like
Right.
recently you guys played in the Governor's Challenge.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then you played in the Greenbrier. So it's almost like you guys are kind of conditioned, like, hey, like we play here all the time. It's
Exactly.
our business trip. This is what we do.
Mhm.
So what is your favorite game? What was your favorite game to play in this season so far? Because it's your senior year, it's your last year of high school.
Yeah, this season, my favorite game to play in was probably the home opener against Washington because we hadn't played home in like almost a year,
Yeah.
and that was a game I had like 40. So yeah,
Oh, that's right, that's right. I
yeah,
remember that game.
yeah. So that was a really it was a fun and
Well,
great. Yeah,
it's speaking of, I'm glad you brought up, dropping 40 on Washington. So is that the school record? 40 points in a game?
yeah, 42.
40,
Yeah,
42.
yeah, I know. Yeah, this dude named Darius back,
Yeah.
and he had 40, and he came up to
Okay.
me at the game and said, "You broke my record by 2." So yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I know.
Yeah, I remember Darius. I played against Darius.
Yeah,
He was a
he's
senior my junior year.
yeah.
But so kinda walk me through that game. What's going through your mind? I mean, because you're one of those players where, yeah, you're 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", and you're probably expected to be kinda inside, especially playing high school.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
I noticed that, coach, you stretch the entire floor. You
Mhm.
sometimes even bring the ball down, but you've got a very versatile game. You can finish inside.
Right.
You can shoot from outside. You can handle the ball. So, like, walk me through that game. Like, what were you feeling when you decided to put 42 up on Washington?
Yeah, so when the game started, well, first it was our first home game, so I obviously wanted to, put on a show for the fans and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
it's almost been like what 10 months since we played at home,
Yeah.
so yeah, obviously that. But once the game started, I saw they were attaching to our shooters, and they were just
Yeah.
like letting me play like 1-on-1. So I knew it was gonna have to be a night where I just scored the ball a lot, and that's what happened. And they were just attached to the shooter, so I had to score.
Yeah, and so, like, what's your mentality in a game? Because I know that from watching you, I've seen that I feel like you prefer to pass,
Yeah, yeah.
that, get your teammates open shots like Quasi, Lokai, all
Right,
them.
yeah.
But, like, what do you prefer to do? Score, pass?
Yeah, so I love getting my teammates open shots, getting assists. But how I look at it is just I don't think you should ever try to force a shot, force yourself like to try to score. That's what
Yeah.
everyone wants me to do. They're always like, "Oh, you need to be more aggressive or whatever. You need to try to score like every single play."
Yeah.
You're like I know you can and stuff like that, but how I look at it is just like if I just play my game, I think the scoring will come to me. Like and if some nights it doesn't come, then it doesn't come. But I'm gonna just keep making plays for my teammates and getting them open shots. And as long as we're getting the win, that's all that really matters. So
Yeah.
and if I need to do more scoring to get us the win, then I will. But as long as we're winning, then,
Yeah.
everyone's doing their job.
And I'm glad you said that because I mean, I've been guilty of that. I mean, because I coached you for a little bit,
Right.
and I was one of those people who was like, "Hey, like, go dunk on somebody,
Right. Right. Yeah.
go." But I'm glad that you're able to keep a level head about that, and you just
Yeah.
go out there, you go do what you do best.
Right.
You don't. You're Caleb Thomas. You don't go out there and try to be a Quasi. You don't
Exactly.
try to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
Zay or Max or anything.
Yeah.
Like
Everyone just
you
plays
play
their
your
role.
game.
Yeah.
But so playing your game, what's the favorite aspect of your game? Like, what do you love about the way you play?
I think it is that just like my passing, like me being able to just get downhill, draw double teams, triple
Yeah.
teams, or whatever, and just seeing being able to make the pass to my teammate, being able to make the reads. Like that's my favorite part of my game. Just never forcing shots, taking great shots, and just getting my teammates is like my favorite part.
Yeah, for sure. Because I love watching you play.
Mm.
It's never the same game. Like, I think most people know what you can do,
Mm-hmm.
but even when you show up expecting that, we get something completely different. Like,
Exactly.
it's something unpredictable, honestly. Like, you got a game that's unpredictable.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
might drop 30 one night, but
Have like
and then have, like, 15 rebounds, or you might have 10 points and 20 rebounds, and
exactly.
plus
Yeah.
your assists, 'cause
Yeah.
normally
Exactly.
you have, like, 9, 10 assists. Sometimes you get even more,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I love that,
Yeah.
about you. And so, talking about your nickname, because
Mhm.
you're Caleb CT Thomas, obviously, it's just your first and your
Yeah.
last
My
name,
last initial.
but,
Yeah.
like, how you feel about that nickname? Where did it come from? When did you start going by CT?
Yeah, so it was actually freshman year. Samuels gave me the name. He
Uh-huh.
he started calling me CT, and then it was really sophomore year when people really just started like calling me that because the people around the team started calling me that, and then
Okay.
people started hearing it. they started calling me CT. But yeah, my whole life I just been called Caleb. But yeah,
Oh.
till high school, Samples is the one that came up with that, and CT, that's where he got it from.
Or I know you have another alias, King Caleb. How do you feel about
Oh,
being called King Caleb? I know.
I mean, it's cool.
Uh,
Sometimes I mean, it's whatever. To be honest, like
yeah,
I think it's funny to me. Yeah, I think it's
yeah,
funny just
yeah.
hearing it.
I get that. It's one of those things where it's like, it's unavoidable.
Yeah, it
It's
really
just
is.
like,
Yeah,
I could tell them, hey, don't call me that, and they'll be like, yo, King
yeah,
Caleb.
yeah, like
I get
yeah.
it. I get it. So your next step is college.
Mhm.
Where you've got 5 offers.
Right.
I'm not gonna make you, say where
Yeah,
you plan
yeah,
on
right,
going,
right.
but what are you looking for in college? What are you looking for as, like, a place to go? Do you have any, like, ideas of where you definitely wanna go, or you just kinda gotta take the best opportunity?
Yeah, just take the best opportunity. To be honest, I've been on visits. The biggest part to me is just like when I go there, like how is the atmosphere? Like
Mhm.
how is the team? Like are they do they act like a family? Because that's what I want. Like a team that's like more of like a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really just look at like the atmosphere, like everyone around there. That's what I'm looking for the most in like a college.
So it's not so much about, "Hey, it's Division 1, Division 2." It's more so like, do I feel like I feel at Spring Mills, like, where I'm at Spring Mills, and I feel like I'm part of a family.
Right. Yeah.
So when
Right.
I go to that next level, do I feel like I'm a part of a family again? I feel like
Exactly.
I can have a good relation like you have a good relationship with Samples.
Uh-huh.
Can I have that same relationship with my head coach and my assistant coaches? Can I have that same relationship with all my teammates?
Yeah.
I get that
Yeah.
because
That's
I know
exactly how it
because
is.
getting col going once you get to college, it's one of those things where in high school, you're the best guy. Well, now you're in college and, you're a
Everyone. Yeah.
bunch of the best
Everyone
guys
wants the
together.
best guy at their high school.
So I feel I can only imagine you're probably excited for that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just yeah, being able to, yeah, like you said, like when you go to college, like everyone was probably the best guy at their high school, no matter what level. So just being able to like work with those guys and work with that talent, like newer talent, probably a great experience just to
Yeah.
be around.
Well, Caleb, I just got to say, I really appreciate you being on here. It's been a great first episode.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I just want to let you guys know. So, Caleb, tomorrow they play Jefferson at Spring Mills. It'll be starting at 7:30, so you can go see Caleb Thomas play tomorrow. They also play at Hedgesville, correct? Or
Yeah, at Hedgesville
at
Friday. Yep.
Hedgesville. This Friday they play at Hedgesville, so you can go check that out too. So you get to see him play,
Yeah.
get to see Spring Mills basketball play
And our John Hanley game got rescheduled to Wednesday too, also.
to Wednesday. So
But
now,
that's at John Hanley, and then but hopefully it doesn't snow. I heard it's supposed to snow. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled again. But who
yeah.
knows?
So, I mean, pretty much what he's saying is you got 3 games this week where you can go see him play and see his
Exactly.
teammates play as well. So,
Yeah.
it's a great atmosphere. It's a great team to go watch and play. So, I appreciate you being on here.
Yes,
It's been
sir.
a successful first episode. So, this is King Coach Matthew signing off with Mr. King Caleb Thomas.
Yes, sir.
So, take care, everybody. Love you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.